Okay, so from our scholarly perspective, Mendel and Owens in 2015. They're going from the Pediatric Sleep, a clinical guide. They really did emphasize that children who do not get sufficient quality sleep are at an increased risk for emotional and behavioral issues. That not only that, but also obesity and even some developmental delays. This directly ties back into our course discussions on how early health patterns shape later functioning. Some common sleep problems that children may experience are going to be nightmares, night terrors, sleepwalking, and also sleep resistance. These can stem from inconsistent routines, anxiety, or even overstimulation. An example of that would be screen time usage before bed. Sleepwalking and night terrors are less common, but are developmentally normal on this stage, but can become concerning if they are frequent. Poor sleep can have tangible effects. Speaking back about our growth hormone deficiency, the growth hormone is primarily released during deep sleep. So if insufficient sleep or rest may occur, and they are not getting deep sleep like their REM cycles, this may impair their physical growth. It also affects hunger regulating hormones that can also increase their risk for obesity, especially in children with low physical activity or that have poor diets. Socioeconomic status plays a significant role in sleep. Children in lower income households may experience more sleep problems due to noise, overcrowded sleeping spaces, and unpredictable schedules, whereas children that are in higher income areas usually have their own room, they have a set routine, they have things that they look forward to at nighttime. So this whole slide is just going to illustrate how sleep is not just a passive state, but a foundational part of their physical development. And this is something that is heavily supported in both the textbook and wider fields of developmental psychology. Okay, so next we're gonna move on to the brain. The brain does a lot of changes, developmentation, and things like this in children in this age. So first we are gonna start off with this quote right here. The brain undergoes remarkable structural and functional changes in early childhood, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for your attention, memory, and impulse control. Um, okay, so structural brain growth is highly accelerated, with the brain reaching nearly 90% of its adult size by age 6, which is to me a really fascinating fun fact. This growth is due in part to increased myelination and the process of symptonogenesis. And this is the formation of new connections, and also the synaptic pruning, which is the elimination of excess connections. These structural changes make the brain more efficient, especially in areas controlling attention, motor planning, and also decision making. Some scholarly sources, such as research from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child, emphasizes neuroplasticity. For one, if you listen to Andrew Huberman, he always talks about this. So I think this is really cool that we got to tie this in to the presentation. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize in response to experiences. So this is why early childhood environments and interactions are so crucial. Enriched environments help build strong neural networks, while deprivation can hinder the brain development. Cognitively, children are in Piaget's preoperational stage, which we did talk about in the notes in the textbook. And this is where they begin to use symbols, engage in pretend play, and form intuitive ideas about the world. However, the reasoning is still limited, yes, but they still struggle with understanding others' perspectives and conserving quantities. Understanding how structural brain development underpins cognition, helps us see why young children think that they behave as they do. It also emphasizes why early education and caregiving practices matter so much. They are literally shaping the brain's architect for these children. This connects deeply to our course on high biology, environment, and education, interact to influence developmental milestones. So just to recap on everything that we have gone over today, the physical development in early childhood, there are a lot of different factors that come into play. It is usually going to start from around age 2 and then around age 6, maybe 7. This is going to be a period of significant growth and change. We also talked about how the growth hormone defect is a condition that some children may experience. Abused or neglected children are more at risk for this. If it is caught early, it can be treated. But yes, remember that we are thinking about the 46 and 46 rule by age 6. We also talked about some different developmental milestones that they may things that they should be experiencing. And this is also a good checklist for your own children at home. We also talked about how gross motor skills and fine motor skills all come into one, too, and then they are very important. We also talked about nutrition, how it plays a really big role. Physical activity, playing, being outside, moving is very, 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 very important. It's also important for us to advocate for children that are in lower income areas and homes because they are not getting the same attention and growth opportunities that other children are getting. Their children need a lot of calories a day to sustain their metabolic function and to help along with their brain activity. And also we need to make sure that we are watching out for fats and sugars that they are intaking. Sleep is also a big part. They grow during their sleep. Oh my gosh, I'm literally so tired. They grow during their sleep. They have all these different things that go on. And so if they are not getting adequate sleep, this is going to hinder their physical growth. And also the brain. The brain does a lot of maturing, growing, and things like that of this sort. And so you want these children to be in an environment where they are loved and supported and that they are eager to learn and everything. And then these are the references. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I'm sorry my phone died.